Hello and welcome. Today, inshallah, we are going to talk about some basics in the chemistry. All right, the difference between the element and the compound, and also the difference between two types of the compounds, the ionic one and the covalent one. We are going to talk about them right now. But first, what is the difference exactly between the element and the compound? The element is just one type of the atom. Like, for example, if you see something like that, Na, okay, without anything else, just Na alone. This is we call it element. Ca, that's an element. You know, Fe, iron, that's an element. Why? Because it just individual element, individual one type of atom. There is no and there is no other things with the sodium here. It's just Na. So this is why we call it element. Ca, calcium, Fe, iron, N, nitrogen. But the compound, two types of the atoms connected together, or more than two types of atoms connected together. Like, for example, NaCl. That's a compound because we have sodium and chlorine. So this is why we call it a compound. CaO, that's a compound. Fe2O3, that's also a compound. For example, HNO3. There are more two types of elements here, so that's a compound. Okay, so this is the difference here between the element and the compound. Element, one type of atom. Compound, two or more than two types of atoms. Very good. Now, the compounds, there are two types of the compounds, the ionic one and the covalent one. Let's talk about them. So we have here the compounds. Okay, one of them, we call it ionic one, ionic compound. The other, we call it covalent compounds. Okay, now, what is the difference between the ionic and the covalent exactly? Basically, the ionic between metals and nonmetals. Covalent one between nonmetals and nonmetals. What does it mean? For example, if you have here NaCl like that, NaCl. So that's ionic compounds. Why? Because we have Na as metal, Cl is non-metal. So that's ionic compounds. Okay? CaO, that's ionic one because we have Ca metal, O non-metal. So that's ionic compound. Covalent between non-metals and non-metals like NO2. N, which is nitrogen, non-metals, oxygen, non-metals, so that's a covalent. SO2, sulfur, non-metals, oxygen, non-metal, that's a covalent. BCl5, phosphor is non-metal, chlorine non-metal, so also that's a covalent. So this is the difference exactly between the ionic compounds and the covalent compounds. The ionic between metals and non-metals like NaCl, like CaO, like for example Fe2O3, okay? But covalence between nonmetals and nonmetals, like NO2, SO2, BCl5. Phosphorus pentachloride. This is the name just of this BCl5. Okay? That's it. So the difference between the element and the compound, the element, one type of atom, as you see here, the compound, two type or more than two types of the atoms. There are two types of the compounds, the ionic one and the covalent one. The ionic, metals and nonmetals, like NaCl, CaO, covalent, nonmetals and nonmetals, NO2, SO2. And by the way, the metals located in the left side in the periodic table, the nonmetals located in the right side in the periodic table. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and have a good day.